Okay, welcome to DoSE Workshop. Today we are working on an unplanned project. I'm working on another project which involves markers, and which I had to get my markers out. And I've got a whole bunch of different paint markers, white, black, silver, a couple of colored ones, but they live in this box that I don't know. They just live in this box because that was the box I had when I needed a box. And they're fine for when I need to store them, but when I need to use them, they're kind of a mess. It's not really cool to use. So I'm going to make something. It's just a simple box. It's probably not even worthy of a video, but what is worthy of a video is I'm going to do a box with a base that sits in a little groove. And generally when you do those, you've got a table saw, you've got a dado blade or whatever they call it. I know I don't have any of that. I've got a circular saw and a band saw and a dream. So we're going to see if we can get by and construct this box with a circular saw. I've got a plan. Hopefully it comes to fruition. If it doesn't, I guess I'm stuck with this. So let's start. I've got this bit of wood. It's a bit thick. I'm going to try and thin it down on the bandsaw, and then if that part works, then we move on to the next part. This whole project is going to be, if this part works, we get to do the next part. Let's start. Right, thin bit of wood. First step working. Okay, we've got our piece of wood. I didn't really cut it to any particular thickness, just thin, and we'll figure the width of the slot out now. Post cutting. It's about 5.5 mils. Which I can kind of sand down, but I reckon if we go 5.5, 5 and a little bit, we'll take it out there and we will measure it to that. But now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some ply. I've got some 12 mil ply. Some 12 mil ply here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the channel into the ply before we cut the sides, which should give me an even line all the way around. This will slot in, then we screw it all together. Simple. Okay, I've set the circular saw to like roughly 3 millimeters on the blade. Now I think this whole process only works because I'm not trying to match it to anything. I'm not trying to be exact to anything. It's kind of just like whatever works. Because if I had to get exactly, say, 2.5 mil, that'd be impossible, because trying to set that blade, I mean, there are ways around it, but we're just testing something, and that's what we do. I'm not sure. I can't see if I'm in frame or not. We've done it. We've cut some. Yeah, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. I think with some extra thought and some learnings, we can get them a bit tighter. But glue will solve us in this situation. We're only learning. And this is what this project is about: is learning. So let's go and get back to the bandsaw. Cut them smaller. I cut them smaller so that they would fit in the bandsaw. Right, I've stuck these together so when I cut them, they're the same size. Theoretically. Alright, that's nice and square. Should be the right size. Now we get to cut the other side. Alright, I figure while we're here, we might as well add a little hand-holdy hole into the top of the sides, just so when I reach in I can pick it up. Just, it's a little nice, just so it's not a box, so there's something interesting to it. We'll go with the drill press. We've got a Forstner bit. I think it's the 1 3/8 Forstner bit. It's whatever is the largest one in the size. I've got some bigger ones, but this one feels right. And we'll drill into some scrap pine.
And we're done. That's it. It's a box. It holds markers. I decided to finish it with a little bit of paint drip. It is that kind of like New York crank graffiti style, which I kind of like as a look. And also it has the feel of kind of what's inside it. A lot of these paint markers are drippy paint markers or really wide, fat markers that are for writing like that, which I use here to mark work in certain ways. There's a lot of just paint Posca markers. I do have some of the crank markers which will mark on anything. A lot of these uni paint markers which are great just to mark on things. I find here within this environment, regular markers just don't cut it sometimes. When you need to mark on wood and glass and plastic and all of these things, and you want to do it with some type of style. Like I've got this, which is like a Klein Tools fat marker, which is just a construction marker, and it's fine. It writes on things. It'll definitely mark it, but it lacks a certain artistic elegance that I like. But anyway, we have a box. It's a very simple box. I noticed early in the piece and that when we cut the little joints that they were going to appear on the side, and I was like, I didn't think about that. But then as I kind of went, I'm like, look, this is a learning process about us doing this floating floor box style, which I've never done before. So I'm really happy with it. I think one of the most important parts about like trying something like this is the learning part, and the fact that we get a little box to help us store stuff that is now no longer a cardboard box is just a benefit at the end. But now at least I know how to do those joints with the tools we've got, and I don't need to right now invest in a table saw which is not really going to fit anywhere or is not the best use of upgrades right now. But anyway, that's it. That's DoSE for this week. Go and try something that you have wanted to try for a long time but have been putting it off for some reason, even if it's just to make a silly little box, and then try and make the box cool, and then try to make your thing cool. Look at it and go, yeah, it's fine, it's wood, it does its job, but how can I make it unique and how can I make it mine? Yeah, that's kind of what we're all about. Anyway, go have fun, go make something, look after yourselves, and I will see you all soon. Okay, bye. Wait, don't go anywhere. Last night, we kind of did a little bit more work on the box. I had this idea, because we're talking about like street art and things like that, and I had this idea that the markers inside the box should impart themselves onto the box in some way. So I took every single one of these markers and wrote DoSE like with it somewhere on the box, and it started to turn into this cool street art-esque, kind of looks like the same shape as like a train in the 80s, and I really like it now. I think it's got a vibe. It's gone from this kind of box we were learning how to do a cut floor thing in, and now it's turned into an object. So I'm really happy with it, and I wanted to stress that, like, don't just build a thing and have a thing. Like, make sure you make it yours. Anyway, that's it. I was having fun last night, and I wanted to show you because I think it's kind of finished the box. So now, look after yourselves, go have fun, and make something. Now you can go. Bye.